Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to do a quick video outlining what I'm seeing out of XLF and out of financials in general. We had looked at them a couple weeks ago in our Wednesday webinar, and things were not looking that great on them. They were looking like they were breaking down from a pretty significant base and dropping some important support zones. And today's action has been pretty good. They've gotten right back into that range. I'm not ready to take any trades on them, but I did want to point out that they have at least come back into a neutral phase and can maybe do something more constructive in the next week or two, which interestingly enough coincides with a lot of major earnings coming out of Bank of America, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, and several other important financials. So there's a decent chance that these guys can sort of get outside of this trend and this big triangle that we've been forming over the last year. And if all things go well, can maybe come over to this side of that descending trend. And if that's the case, then I think we can maybe start looking at more constructive action coming out of the banks and the financials in general. Real quick, I just wanted to go ahead and point out a couple of banks to see what we're looking at. And you can see again Bank of America doing something very similar. If we go ahead and take a look at Citigroup, they are also not quite in the same boat, but doing something a little bit more constructive. Here's a look at Morgan Stanley, and still well below their base, so you can see, relatively speaking, they're weaker than the average bank. But overall, it's starting to get a little bit more constructive. Last one I wanted to take a quick look at was JP Morgan. You can see JP Morgan also starting to get back inside of that range. And again, I'm not necessarily too excited about what's happening here. I think a lot depends on what's going to occur over the next week or two as many of them start to report earnings. But if they can at least get back into this area and start chopping back and forth and eventually get enough steam to break this downtrend that basically started back in February, then we could start looking at financials and maybe starting to give us some trading opportunities. And if that's the case, maybe this is another wind or another breath that we can give our bull market as we start rotating into different areas. Right now, obviously, the tech names and the small caps continue to do well. But if we can get some financials to at least start getting proactive and start trying to reverse this downtrend that we've been in and start making their way upwards, it could at the very least stop some of the stagnation we're seeing in some of the other areas of our broader markets. That's it for now. If anyone has any questions, you can always ask me on Twitter. You can follow me at StockDarts. You can watch us here on YouTube or my Patreon channel, which is patreon.com/StockDarts. Other than that, have a good rest of this afternoon, and I'll see you next time.